after a brush fire forced them to evacuate on Tuesday. Strong shifting winds helped spread the flames in Apple Valley, that's east of Los Angeles.
5 p.m. local time, visibility was reduced to 10 meters. Saudi Arabia, located in the Arabian Peninsula, has a desert climate and is prone to dust storms.
To south, and the London Fire Brigade sent 10 engines and 70 crew to the scene, shutting the Holborn Underground Station.
It's still immense. You can see there the really well-defined eyewall. Yes, it's weakened slightly to a Category 4, but with sustained winds of 150 miles per hour, it is a force to be reckoned with.
These are the victims of what appears to be the deadliest Saudi-led airstrike so far. This was a camp in Yemen's north for those fleeing the violence which has gripped Yemen for more than a decade. The Houthis say women and children are among the dead. But witnesses say many of those killed were fighters, and Saudi Arabia is adamant the Houthis are to blame.
Houthis have moved their weapons and fighters to areas where you have civilians, and we stress that we do our best to prevent civilian casualties. We replied to a source of fire, we have no confirmation this was a refugee camp.
Saudi-led airstrikes have hit at least 9 of Yemen's provinces, including the Houthi-held capital, Sana'a. Airstrikes lit up the sky in Fajatan district. The target, a military base and weapons storage facility, which belongs to the Yemeni Republican Guard. The focus isn't just on Houthi strongholds, but also on protecting the port city of Aden. It's the main base for President Abed Rabbo Mansour Hadi's supporters. Airstrikes in the south are targeting convoys of reinforcements and what Saudi describes as Houthi command centres, like this one. While coalition forces control the skies, naval forces are moving to block Yemen's ports in a bid to stop rebel fighters from rearming. As the airstrikes continue, Saudi officials maintain Iran is backing the Houthis, an accusation Tehran denies.
There are a number of Iranian Revolutionary Guards that were operating before underground, but they recently started operating more in the open. There are many advisors who are supported by Iran, mercenaries, some even from Lebanon, Syria, and other places, all operating under the guidance of Iran.
The coalition says its military campaign will continue until Houthi fighters and soldiers loyal to deposed President Ali Abdullah Saleh hand over their weapons and join talks to find a political solution. Kim Vanel, Al Jazeera.
Deadly floods in India have taken the lives of at least 15 people. Rescue workers have already pulled those bodies from the debris of 2 houses that partially sank. They are still looking for a 6-year-old who is believed to be trapped in the mud. That area has seen 3 days of nonstop rain. Hundreds are now staying in relief centers and bracing for even more rain that is in the forecast for that part of the world for the rest of this week.
Weather permitting, parts of the world will be treated to a celestial spectacle this weekend, a total lunar eclipse. According to NASA, the full eclipse will start at 6:16 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and will last only 5 minutes, making it the shortest lunar eclipse in the 21st century. It's going to be visible in vast places around the world, including Western North America, Eastern Asia, the Pacific, Australia, and New Zealand. Full lunar eclipses are often called blood moons because of the reddish tint they adopt as sunsets and sunrises seen from the Earth reflect onto the surface of the moon. This eclipse marks the third in a series of 4 lunar eclipses in a row, called tetrad. Tetrads are rare. Only 8 will happen this century, with the next one not occurring until 2032 or 2033. I'm Bonnie Schneider, The Weather Channel.
Scenes of utter devastation. These latest images showing you the effect of Typhoon Maysak. Such a strong storm for so early on in the typhoon season. It's been working its way across the western Pacific. It's still immense. You can see there the really well-defined eyewall. Yes, it's weakened slightly to a Category 4, but with sustained winds of 150 miles per hour, it is a force to be reckoned with. And it is tracking its way, bearing down on the Philippine Islands. It's likely to reach there, again, slightly weaker, but still a very powerful storm by the time we get to the weekend. And of course, the Philippines still recovering from the Typhoon Haiyan, which hit there in November 2013.
Hail, thunder, and lightning caused significant damage around the metro overnight. The roof of an apartment complex near Northwest 10th and Meridian will need some repairs.
Plus, thousands of people are without power at this time. News 9's Rachel Calderon has an up-close look at the damage. Good morning.
Stan, Tammy, good morning to you. You can see pieces of the roof outside the Meridian apartments here, but you can see the yellow tape and then the damage here to the roof. It will be some time before the folks who live inside the units here at Meridian Apartments will be allowed back in. News 9 storm tracker Alan Brosey also brought back this incredible video of people stranded in their cars after flash flooding on Northwest 5th and Penn, and in that same area. Power lines and trees were also down due to the high winds. Winds were as high as 80 miles per hour in Mustang, 60 miles per hour on the southwest side of the metro. And we know right now that OG&E is still working to restore power to about 11,000 customers. Viewers in Edmond also tell us they saw golf ball size hail, and you can see the damage that the hail left behind in Centerview. Now, you just heard Jed and Lacey explain all morning long that we are expecting more storms later this week. Now is a great time for you to download our free app at News 9. Our News 9 app available to all of you so you can stay weather aware. That's the latest from the Northwest side. Rachel Calderon, News 9.
The governor of California has now announced the state's first ever mandatory water reductions as the state suffers through this severe drought. He just made this announcement at the annual snowpack survey, where apparently he was actually standing on dry grass instead of snow. Sarah Steidner's with me on the phone. She's following the story from California. And Sarah, what are the restrictions he outlined?
Well, look, I mean, bottom line is it's about how many times people turn on that tap, whether they're watering their lawns, pulling back on the things that people do in their daily lives because they really believe that's going to make a huge impact. And I wanted to give you some idea. We went down to an area of Central California, which is sort of the bread basket or the fruit basket, if you will, of the country. It's where, you know, a huge portion of, for example, almonds are grown, and pistachios, and all the things that people know from California are grown there in those very fertile soils. They also take a lot of water, and a lot of the farmers are having to say, okay, we cannot plant here anymore. We have to let this field die. We have to let that die. But what is even more telling about how bad this drought is that there is a community in East Porterville that has no water in their homes. About 5,000 people have no water running in their homes in America, in California, which everyone's like, oh, the Golden State. So there's a lot of concern going on now. And this isn't just the worst drought in 100 years, which has been talked about over and over and over again. A new study from the University of Minnesota said this is the worst drought in 1,200 years. They looked at the samples from tree rings and found that this is actually the worst drought California has experienced in more than 1,000 years. And you can really see that in the amount of water in the reservoirs, for example. It looks kind of like when you pull the bathtub plug and you see the rings around the bathtub. That's what some of these reservoirs look like. It is really, really disturbing. And there is a major problem here. But people are going to have to change the way that they do business and the way that they live their lives, most literally.
This morning, dozens of Southern California firefighters are back home after a brush fire forced them to evacuate on Tuesday. Strong shifting winds helped spread the flames in Apple Valley, that's east of Los Angeles. The 70-acre fire started as a controlled burn to clear out the brush. It destroyed a military vehicle, an outbuilding, and threatened about 100 homes on Tuesday. The fire is now 30% contained.
Hit the tree right next to me.
You'll definitely want to see this. This is caught on camera, a view of severe weather we rarely get. The event as it unfolded from the view of first responders. Our News 9's Evan Anderson spent the day looking through some of these incredible pictures from Moore Police. Evan?
Amanda, this was the first time Moore police officers wore body cams during a major storm. It's some incredible video that takes us into the storm and its immediate aftermath.
Yeah, it looked like it's crossing Eastern. Like you said, about 19th, between 4th and 19th.
Frantic moments set the scene, and it's caught on the body cam of Sergeant Joseph Williams.
The northeast is clear. That's where I'm headed.
Sergeant Williams was leaving a nearby restaurant where he could see the storm heading his way. Around the same time, another officer sees the tornado cross right in front of him, and it's caught on his dash cam. Joseph tries to get in front of the storm, but makes several stops along the way. He sees an SUV sitting in the middle of the road, airbags deployed.
Very weak for a moment, but it dissipated again. But this thing is producing small funnels all along the...
We didn't have a warning this time. Last time we had a little bit of a warning.
Joseph checks to see if anyone was inside another abandoned car.
Yeah, we got pretty good damage here at about 4th and Irving. I got some roofs taken off on some of the houses.
Hello! Police! Police!
I wasn't expecting to see some of the damage that I'd seen. I just wanted to make sure everybody was safe.
I knocked on their door and they're an elderly couple.
Okay.
They got out, but I don't know.
We'll check. You guys all right?
Yeah.
Okay. Neighbor was worried about you. We don't sign up for money or anything. We sign up to do the job, and that's all I was doing. Nothing special, nothing, just doing my job.
The Moore Police Department purchased 18 body cams last month as part of a pilot program. If successful and money available, the department plans to purchase about 70 more.
An underground blaze in central London on Wednesday prompted a mass evacuation as firefighters tackled the blaze, which has sent out a pall of thick smoke. More than 2,000 people were forced to leave nearby buildings, including the Royal Courts of Justice, after thick black smoke began emerging from the pavement on Kingsway, a major thoroughfare that cuts through British capital from north to south. And the London Fire Brigade sent 10 engines and 70 crew to the scene, shutting the Holborn Underground station and closing off streets close to the courts and the London School of Economics. Firefighters say the blaze was likely caused by an electrical fault among underground cables. No casualties have been reported.
And to the north in Washington state tonight, a massive landslide outside Seattle. Homes teetering on the edge there. Several homes have already been evacuated there as well. ABC's Neil Karlinski this evening with one family whose home is right on the edge.
It is a slow-motion disaster. 3 homes teetering on the edge of a bluff south of Seattle that's sliding away chunk by chunk. That white piece of deck about halfway down, that's part of Gary Williams' house.
Is it okay to be out here?
Sure. Williams let us in during the few short hours he's been allowed back inside to pack up everything he owns and get out.
It started over here, and I could hear it rustling like a dog going through the brush.
Pictures of the bluff before and after give you a sense of how much earth has moved. 3 homes are now red tagged, meaning the owners can't stay here.
You can see where the earth is pulling away here, and here it's actually separating, and down there in the green grass you can see chunks just cracking away.
It started Friday night and hasn't settled yet.
City officials say they'll be sending boats around over here to monitor the bluff. You can see where the bulk of the earth and the trees have come pouring down here. The homes up top there, they are definitely a total loss. The question now is, will they come down this hillside as well?
Off the coast of Mexico, an oil platform is engulfed by a raging fire. At least 4 people are dead, dozens more hurt, hundreds of workers evacuated. For more on the situation, I'm joined by CCTV's Frank Contreras from Mexico City. And Frank, any idea at all what may have caused this fire?
At this stage, the state-run oil company, Pemex, says it still does not know exactly what caused this flame to take place on this platform known as Abacun off of the coast of Campeche in the Mexican Gulf of Mexico area east of the capital here. We're told that people working aboard that platform had to leap for their lives into the water, into the raging sea there in order to save themselves from the flames. As you mentioned, at least 4 people were killed. We're getting conflicting reports now at this hour on just how many people were injured in the fire that took place there on the platform. The state-run company, Pemex, initially reported that 16 people were injured, and later we were getting reports from rescue teams on the Gulf Coast of Mexico saying that at least 45 people were injured. At least 2 of them were brought here to the Mexican capital of workers who faced severe burns. They were installing thermal insulating equipment aboard the platform, and the platform was not involved in crude production. What it does there instead was separates crude oil from gas that is brought from the floor there, the ocean floor in the Gulf of Mexico, Mike. And so the rescue effort is pretty much over at this stage. Efforts are continuing to put out the blaze.
Terrifying imagery there as we look at it on the screen. This is not the first time, though, that this company has dealt with deadly accidents.
Pemex has had several deadly incidents in recent times. In August 2014, 3 people were killed at a refinery just south of the border with Texas in a place called Ciudad Madero, that refinery owned by the state-run company Pemex. 37 others were killed in 2013. You remember we reported here on CCTV 37 killed after a gas explosion took place in the headquarters of Pemex here in the Mexican capital. And in 2007, another 21 people were killed at a platform closer up the shore north of the location that is now being investigated now, where the platform is fire is still taking place.
Frank Contreras for us in Mexico City. Thanks so much.
Saudi Arabia's capital Riyadh and its surrounding areas are engulfed by the most severe sandstorms in recent years. As of Wednesday, 5 p.m. local time, visibility was reduced to 10 meters. Saudi Arabia, located in the Arabian Peninsula, has a desert climate and is prone to dust storms. Sandstorms often give the skyline a bronzing effect, with affected areas enveloped in a red cloud of dust. A woman has been shot dead while trying to attack the police headquarters in Istanbul. A male accomplice has been arrested. Both were heavily armed. The Istanbul governor's office says the female attacker was carrying a rifle, 2 hand grenades, and a pistol. The scene of the attack remains cordoned off. It is the second attack on an official building in as many days and follows Tuesday's deadly hostage siege at an Istanbul courthouse that left a prosecutor dead. Turkish President Tayyip Erdogan has paid condolences to the family of the prosecutor and called for vigilance and measures to maintain security in the country.
Those who attempt to destroy the peace and stability of this country will not see what they want in this country. I believe that we should not give them the opportunity. We should take different measures. We should be aware that the picture we have here today and the picture we have at Vatn Street shows that we need to be much more careful and much more vigilant.